Hello guys, I am Shubham Kirman. So let's our today's topic is the difference between array and collections in Java. So let's move toward the today's topic. Array and collection in Java are used to store a group of objects of same or different types. So why we need collections? Arrays in Java are fixed in size, and in development always it's not possible to define that size of an array. So we need to increase the size based on our requirement. So the collections are fixed in size, are not fixed in size, and they are growable whatever they want, and they increase its reached maximum limit. Arrays can only holds one type of elements, and the collection can hold the different types of elements. And there is no default method to support from arrays for the sorting and searching, as well as retrieving, etc. But collections can have the different types of utility methods support, and it is handled for the developer, and it will reduce the cooling time. So that's why we need collections. So now we have take overview of the some of the major differences between arrays and collections in Java. So let's move towards one by one. First one is the resizing. An array is a fixed size data structure that does not permit element to be inserted or to remove after its creation. It contrasts a collection in Java is resizable and can grow or shrink in size dynamically, and to accommodate more elements if they are required. So the second point is the performance. Retrieval and the assignment operations on an array takes constant time. However, an array doesn't support insertion and operation. Since because its length is fixed, after creations, the all collections in Java facilitate the retrieval assignment and insertions operations. So the time taken by these operations are depend on that underlying data structure. So, but they are having no doubt arrays offers a better performance than collections. So the third difference between is the primitives. Arrays in Java can hold only the primitive data types, the int, char, float, double, boolean, etc. And Java objects get char, float, double, boolean, string, etc. And in constant collection can hold only primitive, but open classes and objects. So fourth difference is the object storage. Arrays takes the 0n space for n number of elements, and it do not retrieval any additional storage. But in contrast, most of the collections reserve some additional storage for the new elements, and actual space taken by contents depends on the implementations. That is the fourth difference. So we will move towards the fifth difference, that is method. Arrays in Java does not have any method, but they do have some properties such as length. In contrast, every collection offers several utility methods to facilitate the operations on its underlying data structure. So let's move towards the sixth difference, that is the dimension. The dimension of an array is the total number of indices needed to selection that elements. But arrays in Java support only the single line insertion and multi-dimensional arrays, whereas the collection has no concept of the dimensions. So however, we can easily create a method needed for collections. So let's move toward the another difference, that is the genetic support. Arrays in Java always stores the homogeneous data, but whereas the collection can store both homogeneous and heterogeneous data structure. So generics are not supported by an array, but collection supports generics to ensure the type safe. So let's move towards the another difference, that is the duplicates and nulls. Arrays in Java allows duplicates and null values, whereas new collections allow duplicate elements, and the other is that do not also some implementations prohibit the null elements. So that is the difference. So let's move towards the another, that is the ordering. Arrays in Java can represent order sequence of that elements, and that can be easily accessible by index. But in collections, on the other hand, can be ordered or unordered depending on the implementation. If the array is used as an underlying data structure in collection, the elements can be accessed by using an index. So that's all about the city difference. So that's all about the differences between arrays and collections in Java. But that all the limitations of an array and advantages of the collections over the arrays. So it makes use of collections. It doesn't mean we have to use collections implementations instead of arrays. If we can't store primary data types in collections, we can't store primary data types in collections. Performance-wise arrays, so that's why performance-wise arrays are better. So recommendation is when you know the size in advance in arrays is better to use. If the size is not fixed and data processing you will require, then and sorting, searching, then collections implementations are better to use. So that's why we use collections in Java. So that's all about today's introductions between the arrays versus collections in Java.